The origin of woman. The Genesis creation narrative says that God created Adam first and then took one of his ribs to create Eve. But is this really how it happened? Scientists say that there was no need for God to take a rib from Adam to make Eve because they both came from the same primordial soup. You know what I'm talking about, the same one from which all humans arose. No rib needed. But a noted geneticist and molecular biologist from Baylor College of Medicine in Houston, Francis Collins, claims that the creation of woman had nothing to do with the origin of man. Instead, he says that God directly created woman after making Adam. He based his theory on mitochondrial DNA. Collins explains that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It is passed down only from mother to child, and thus all humans alive today can trace their mitochondrial DNA back to one woman whom he calls the mitochondrial Eve. He used the mitochondrial DNA of over 300 people from around the world to build his case. And after analyzing the data, he concluded that all humans indeed came from one woman who lived in Africa between 140,000 and 200,000 years ago. Before her, there were other women, but she was the one whose mitochondrial DNA survived through history and ended up inside us. So the creation of woman could have been a separate event. And given that mitochondrial Eve lived in Africa, scientists think that this is where the Garden of Eden might have been located. But why did God wait so long to make a woman? Well, scientists have an explanation for that too. After the creation of Adam, the earth experienced a catastrophic event, possibly a volcanic eruption or some kind of climatic disaster that killed off most living things. Only a small population survived, and they all carried the genetic signature of the mitochondrial Eve. Sometime later, when things settled down, God made another human called Lilith. We don't hear about her in the Bible, but she is mentioned in some ancient texts. She was supposedly created at the same time as Adam from the same primordial ooze. According to some sources, she ran away from the Garden of Eden because she didn't like the fact that Adam was bigger than her. Then God punished her by letting a demon impregnate her. That gave her children, the demons of the night who would tempt men and devour their souls. So Adam felt dejected and lonely after losing Lilith. And that's when God decided to make him a suitable helper who wouldn't run away or devour his soul. And that's how Eve came to be. But I'm afraid we still haven't answered the question of why God made Adam feel so lonely in the first place. Number 3, the tree of life. The book of Genesis says that in the middle of the Garden of Eden stood a tree of life whose fruit kept people from dying. What kind of tree was it? Well, that depends on who you ask. Christians believe that it was an apple tree, even though the Bible never specifies what kind of fruit it was. Some scholars say that it was fig, while others claim that it was pomegranate or maybe grapes. But perhaps it wasn't any of these. In that case, the tree of life could have been a sycamore fig. It is a type of fig found in clusters on trees. They are tiny and dry when unripe, but once they mature, they turn soft and sweet and can be eaten raw. These figs also contain a milky sap that can be extracted and drunk as a health tonic. Ancient cultures across the world believed that it helped improve general health and even extended lifespan. Could this have been the secret behind the tree of life? Perhaps. The tree of life is also mentioned in Jewish and Islamic texts, and it seems that its main purpose was to keep people from dying. But scientists say that death is not something we can avoid. According to them, every living thing on Earth has a limited number of cells that can divide. When those cells die, that's it. You're dead. There is no way to stop this process. Even if medical science makes some miraculous breakthrough and manages to defeat all diseases and extend the average lifespan to 200 years, eventually everyone will die. Scientists say that the universe itself is expanding and growing colder and darker. All stars will go out one by one, leaving Earth in total darkness. And if that doesn't get you down, then consider this. Everything we see, everything we touch, everything we feel, even we ourselves are nothing but atoms borrowed from the future. Yes, atoms are constantly being created, but they are borrowed from the future. Atoms will exist, after we are gone. And now for number 2, the talking snake. When Eve and Adam ate the forbidden fruit, they heard the sound of God walking in the garden. So they hid. But before that, God talked to them, and he talked to them through a snake. The serpent was apparently very articulate. It didn't hiss or slither. It spoke to Eve and Adam just like a human. How is that possible? Well, it comes down to how our brains work. Dr. Robert J. Richards, Professor Emeritus of Psychology at the University of Chicago, believes that the talking snake was nothing but a hallucination. He says that the hallucinatory state was induced by eating the forbidden fruit, whatever that may be. The state caused by the fruit could have made Eve and Adam hear God speaking through the serpent. But if that's true, why did they run away? If it was just a hallucination, they should have known that. Well, that's where things get interesting. The part where Eve and Adam hide is described in just 2 verses of the Bible. The rest of the story is told in much greater detail. This suggests that the story of the talking snake was actually meant to convey the idea that when humans eat the fruit of knowledge, they become like God, capable of knowing good and evil. So the talking snake symbolizes the development of conscience. Why did God send a snake to talk to them? Because snakes don't usually talk, so it attracted their attention. Also, snakes move in a peculiar way. Their motionlessness breaks the monotony of nature. Therefore, it catches our attention more than other objects do. This is why, according to Richard, the serpent was the perfect creature to deliver God's message. Interestingly, this explanation is backed by neuroscientist Andrew Newberg. He scanned the brains of 20 volunteers using fMRI while they were listening to religious stories. The results showed that the parts of the brain responsible for processing auditory information lit up when they heard the story of the talking snake. And now for number 1, the fall of man. After Adam and Eve ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge, their eyes were opened and they realized that they were naked. So they tried to cover themselves with fig leaves. But God was angry that they disobeyed him, and so he cursed them. He told Adam that thorns and thistles would be his companion from that day forward. He told Eve that her pain in childbirth would be excruciating and that her desire would be for her husband, yet he would rule over her. Then God banished them from the Garden of Eden. Was this really how it happened? Well, that depends on who you ask. Most Christians believe that the fall of man is a historical event. But secular scientists disagree. They say that it never happened. Instead, they tell a different story. According to them, after the creation of Adam and Eve, thousands of years of evolution took place. During this time, humans interbred with other species such as Neanderthals and Homo erectus. Eventually, humans migrated from Africa and spread across the world. The mixing with other species resulted in a loss of genetic information. If this theory is true, then the fall of man was not a historical event. Rather, it was the slow process of evolution that turned us into what we are today. However, scientists cannot explain why humans suddenly started building societies, creating governments, and worshiping God. This makes us wonder, was the fall of man just a simple evolutionary event, or was it something more? Unfortunately, we will never know for sure. Thanks for watching. Do you believe that the fall of man was a real event, or is it just a myth? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more amazing videos.